The risk of death is actually much higher by remaining an alcoholic. So I wouldn't be afraid of quitting, but there are several myths involved with quitting alcohol that I think we can address here. A lot of people who have done the 12-step program, but I know equally as many who have failed doing it. And one of the reasons I don't like the 12-step program is because it advises full abstinence, basically quitting cold turkey. But alcohol differs from most other addictions. Because when you do quit alcohol, you're no longer running on the sugar. This is my theory, by the way. This is my personal theory. I'm not sure that this completely aligns with everything that we say in the health business, but I've dealt with a lot of alcoholics. I've always lived in blue-collar neighborhoods, so I have a fair bit of experience here. Because yeah, if you just go cold turkey on alcohol, you're likely to experience withdrawal symptoms, which again, this is not the case with cocaine. There's no point in weaning cocaine. You might as well just go cold turkey. But with alcohol, you'll experience symptoms of withdrawal. To me, the symptoms of withdrawal are basically the same as low blood sugar. And I explain all of this, by the way, in my book, Everything You Should Know About Healthy Blood Sugar. But I also know that alcoholics don't really read books, so they don't usually. Forgive me for that judgment ahead of time. I did touch on alcoholism in that book because I consider alcoholism to be a high blood sugar problem. Basically, if someone is tilting towards the low blood sugar, if they drink alcohol, it's just going to make them tired. So they're very unlikely to actually become an alcoholic. Alcoholics tend to have all the signs of high blood sugar. And so again, my theory is that they're basically running off of the sugar and they're not running off of nutrients, the metabolization of nutrients. They're running off the sugar instead. There's at least three main ways to approach this, in my opinion. Number one is to get off of the worst forms of alcohol. So if you're a beer drinker or anything carbonated, say you drink vodka and Coke, stop the carbonation completely. I can't tell you how many people I've encountered who have just switched from beer to wine and improved on basically every metric that you can name. Or again, if they were drinking spirits with soda, and they just got rid of the soda, switched it to orange juice or something and improved very quickly. The carbonation is going to be affecting your digestion. You need a solid digestion to be absorbing nutrients, and carbonation lowers the stomach acid, or it raises the pH, but it makes the stomach acid less strong. You need a strong stomach acid to absorb nutrients and digest food. So getting off the carbonation and making sure that the alcohol that you are drinking is a gluten-free alcohol. This is going to be key to helping you improve your digestion immediately. You improve your digestion, you're also going to improve the absorption of nutrients from food. So even if you insist on drinking beer, which I don't recommend, switch to a rice beer. Google a list of gluten-free beers and switch to that. Keep it away from your meals is what we advise, but I would just really recommend getting off the carbonation. The second strategy to implement is to reduce the alcohol. Now, an alcoholic doesn't need to quit alcohol completely forever. Again, this is part of the myth. This is part of why I don't like the 12-step program, because they recommend complete abstinence forever. But a food addict does not need to quit food. They'll die if they just quit food, right? A sex addict can have sex again one day. They need to rewire their relationship with these problems. If your body is running off of sugar, it's asking you for sugar, you're interpreting that as a craving for alcohol. Well, you can also give your body sugar. Now, this is breaking the rules of what we would normally consider healthy living, but you have to start somewhere. And if an alcoholic just completely drops alcohol and doesn't replace it with any form of sugar, you're probably going to crash into low blood sugar very quickly. Low blood sugar, again, the very first sign is going to be irritability. An alcoholic without a drink becomes irritable. Second things that'll start to happen will be dizziness, nausea, jitters. These are all symptoms of low blood sugar. So you need to understand how to regulate your blood sugar without alcohol. And one of the crutches that you can use in the meantime is actual sugar. My favorite thing for raising the blood sugar very quickly is dried fruit. Dried fruit raises the blood sugar faster than wet fruit, basically. You can look up high glycemic foods, and these are the foods that we're not normally recommending, like rice or whatever, but you should use them. Why? Because it's much better to eat a handful of dried fruit than it is a drink. And even if you're in an emergency, say they're drinking at work, and they're used to drinking at work, sneaking a drink at work, I'd much rather you have a candy bar than a drink. The candy bar is not good, but it should actually stop the jitters, right? Diabetics know this. Now, we have to move on to the third strategy here, because if you just switch from alcohol to sugar, you're still going to have a blood sugar problem. All the problems involved with alcoholism are still going to be present. And the third strategy is to add more nutrients in. Basically, to have healthy blood sugar, you need nutrients to do it. We would say all 90 essential nutrients, but there are a few key ones that actually get insulin into your cell and allow insulin to be used. And there are also a lot of other nutrients that basically get rid of the symptoms of low blood sugar. And if you go to the gas station, they're probably going to have an anti-hangover capsule or pill. And if you read the label, it's probably just going to be B vitamins. B vitamins are water-soluble nutrients, therefore they're electrolytes. They're very important and they work very well, actually. They should reduce a hangover and they can eliminate it if you don't drink a whole lot. But B vitamins are not the only electrolytes. The most important electrolyte, in my opinion, is salt, sodium and chloride. Sodium and chloride is key for hydration. To be hydrated, you need water and water-soluble nutrients in balance. Hopefully this isn't too complicated so far. All we've done is switch to less harmful forms of alcohol, number one. Number two, we've started to reduce the actual amount of alcohol. And by the way, if you're putting your alcohol in something like a juice, it also has electrolytes. And there's several other nutrients that I'm not going to mention here that are also electrolytes. And again, those specific nutrients that are needed to get insulin into the cell. But step one is getting started. Step one is understanding that you don't need to completely quit alcohol forever and be completely clean forever. So definitely start to drink the alcohol slower. Put it off until later in the day. If you start to get the jitters, if you start to get irritable, eat something that's going to raise your blood sugar quite quickly. Dried fruits are going to be your best option, in my opinion, but even if it's a cookie, it's going to stop it. And this advice, is probably blasphemous in my business, but I know several people who like to drink on the weekends, and they like to add their alcohol to our supplements instead of a juice or something like that. A juice is going to have some electrolytes, but not as much as a supplement drink. Now, I don't know if the daughter here is on our products, but our products are loaded with those B vitamins and the other electrolytes as well, right? So again, I know a lot of people who like to do that because it either gets rid of their hangover or greatly reduces it. But those nutrients at the same time are going to be supplying your body with the stuff that it needs to have healthy blood sugar, right? And again, why is it blasphemous? Well, they don't want to contaminate the supplements basically, but what's better, a drink full of nutrients or a drink with just alcohol? And you don't have to do that at the same time, but our overall advice is going to be to start pouring nutrients in. We're going to recommend everybody be on the 90 essential nutrients all the time. It's a lot cheaper than alcohol too, by the way. Being an alcoholic is a very expensive habit. And once you start to do that and you've done these other things as well, you should stop having this huge roller coaster where your mood and your hormones and everything is being pulled up and down from your rises and falls in blood sugar, because of course you want to stay up. Well, really, you want to stay in the middle, right? That's optimum lifestyle. You're staying in the middle where, you get a little bit hungry and your blood sugar goes down a little bit, right? You eat a little bit and it goes up a little bit, but you're not doing this. You're not getting crazy mad when you haven't had a drink. So as this all evens out, you can wean yourself down to a normal level, and you should be feeding your body the nutrients that it needs to have healthy blood sugar, and you should be correcting any digestion problem, which is very likely to be there already. So now you're absorbing more nutrients in your daily life, even from the foods that you're eating. This is especially true for beer drinkers. As soon as beer drinkers switch to a less harmful alcohol like wine, they're going to be now again absorbing a lot more nutrients from their food. And frankly, there's not that much more to this. Again, I did go into detail in all of these things and more in my book, Everything You Should Know About Healthy Blood Sugar. I do have the audio version and the video version, which is completely free, which hopefully they learn to understand these things. And I want to repeat that what they call withdrawal symptoms, to me, are basically just low blood sugar or dehydration, which are also basically the same thing. These symptoms of dehydration, the symptoms of low blood sugar, and the symptoms of withdrawal are basically the same. So you got to learn the importance of water and salt, right? Adding salt to your water. You got to learn the importance of consuming enough electrolytes throughout your day, every day. That includes the B vitamins and vitamin C and calcium, potassium, and all of the electrolytes. And if they go gluten-free completely, not just in the alcohol, if they go gluten-free completely, their life is probably going to change a lot just from that, if they do absolutely nothing else, by the way. But I'm not saying that that's a cure for alcoholism, but that will reduce a lot of the problem. So I hope this helped, and I hope you show him this, and I'll make this into a video for YouTube, by the way, and I hope that you know and he knows that we are here all the time. You can reach out to us with any questions, and we can help guide you through these sorts of processes. And I've never been an alcoholic myself, but I've been a drug addict, and I've been around a lot of drug addicts and alcoholics, so I feel that I have a little bit of understanding here that can help. And one of the last things that I wanted to say here in closing was that you really have to want to do this. In the nutrition business, all the time we got people asking about other people, and the truth of the matter is, the hard truth, is that the person who's asking me cares more than the person they're asking about their health. Now, most of the reason here might just be understanding. The person who's being asked about probably just doesn't understand these things, probably just hasn't heard these things, probably hasn't been given any confidence by somebody who says, hey, we can help you. I'm confident that I can help you. They probably haven't been given that faith. But the truth is, with alcoholism and a lot of drug addiction, It's the main reason, in my opinion, why most people fail is because they really don't truly want to do it. Not doing it for someone else. You need an accountability partner. You need to want to do this. So you need to want to get healthier. Again, you don't have to quit alcohol forever, but you need to get rid of this main problem. You need to stop your body from running off of the alcohol, and you need to switch it onto running off of nutrients. And by the way, you probably won't be able to drink as much anyways once this happens. Once you get healthy, you probably can't handle that much alcohol. Why? Because you're probably not absorbing all of it right now, right? As you continue through alcoholism, especially with beer and other things that damage your intestines, you're not absorbing as much as you will be when you get healthy. When the intestines clear up and they stop being inflamed from the gluten and such, now they can absorb more caffeine, they can absorb more alcohol, they can absorb more medications and all this stuff. So I used to drink 10 coffees a day. I can barely drink one now without getting jitters. So that's a good thing. You won't be able to handle as much alcohol in the future. You'll be able to enjoy a drink or two and you'll be done. That's all I can handle. I can handle 2 drinks and I'm done. My body says I'm done. I've had enough. I've absorbed enough of this. But you really have to want to do it. And if you want to do it, we are here to help. You can do it without a lot of money. You don't need any fancy treatments. You don't need to go into a treatment center. You probably don't need therapy or anything like this. You just need more nutrients. So going back to the original question here, what is the risk of death from getting off of alcohol? It's not as high as staying on alcohol. A very good friend of mine died this year because he didn't want to quit the alcohol. He asked me what to do, and I told him. And I told him the same thing they said here, but he knew all this already. He was already on nutrients and everything. He thought he could take as much nutrients as he could handle and he could still drink, and it's not the case. You have to bring it down to a reasonable level or the alcohol will kill you. I guess I should also add a little tidbit about the liver. Liver cirrhosis or fatty liver or liver disease in general, it's caused by nutrient deficiency. It's not caused by alcoholism. Just like lung cancer isn't caused by smoking, at least not in every case. Why? Because there's plenty of people with cirrhosis and fatty liver and diseased liver who don't drink. Just like there's plenty of people who have lung cancer who don't smoke. It's because these things are nutritional. They're caused by damaging foods and nutrient deficiencies. The liver can regrow itself. We know, medical science knows that you can cut the liver out by 90% and it can grow back. It's a remarkable organ. It needs enough nutrients to do so, especially selenium, a very important mineral, but we're recommending all the essential nutrients. So just keep this in mind. There can be a very, very long conversation about how all these nutrients interact with blood sugar, with the liver, all this stuff. But the point is we're recommending all the essential nutrients and getting off of the bad foods that harm you the most. And in the case of alcoholism, we do have a list of 12 bad foods, and it could be even more bad foods, but really it's just the glutens that are going to be the biggest immediate problem. The glutens, wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Getting off of them is key here. And a lot of people ask, why isn't sugar on your list? Well, it's because your body takes all food and it turns it into glucose, sugar, to feed the cells, because your cells eat glucose. So right now, what's happening in the alcoholic, in my opinion, is it's only being fed alcohol. And alcohol is a very efficient sugar. It'll get into the cells very quickly, right? It's a high glycemic thing. So your body is running off of this instead of running off of a more stable nutrient source, which is a wider spectrum of nutrients. And you can change this. So follow these 3 steps. There could be more than this, but this is how we get started. Switch to the least harmful alcohols. At least switch off the carbonated and the gluten alcohols. Switch to any other form of alcohol first. Next, reduce your intake of alcohol. Lean on high glycemic foods in the meantime. As you learn more healthier habits, you don't need to keep doing that. But if you're crashing into low blood sugar, eat some dried fruits, eat something that's going to raise your blood sugar. And thirdly, start pouring nutrients in. We're recommending everybody consume all 90 essential nutrients anyways, but for an alcoholic, they're going to be more depleted than the average person. So you need to start pumping those in the body, basically. And if you even do that at the same time as the alcohol, fine. And of course, we want you to message us so that we can give you a list of questions and we can make sure there's nothing weird on your list, nothing that you need to address right now that's going to screw the whole thing up, such as a missing gallbladder. So message us, let us help you figure this out. My book, Everything You Should Know About Healthy Blood Sugar, Simple Strategies to Conquer Almost Any Health Problem, goes into a lot of detail about one of the most complicated things we get asked about, which is healthy blood sugar. This covers all of the blood sugar problems you know about, including type 1 and type 2 diabetes, and other problems you might not know were blood sugar problems, including behavioral, mood, sleep, and cardiovascular problems. This book also goes into a lot of detail on digestion and how primitive people and animals actually acquire the nutrients that they need for healthy blood sugar in their natural environment. And definitely check out my book, Fake Diseases. It covers all of the major topics that come up, like birth defects, blood sugar problems, bone and joint problems, cancer, autoimmune problems, and more. And it's on Amazon for just $9.99. Definitely get yourself a copy of Dr. Wallach's cookbook. This is basically a textbook about how to cook without the bad foods, particularly oil and gluten. This is 300 pages stuffed full of recipes without the bad foods that they're usually made from. And of course, make sure to check out our food page, Notice Foods, that's on YouTube, and at Notice Foods on Instagram. We have a lot of content up there teaching you how to cook without the bad foods that Dr. Wallach describes, and Dr. Glidden's 12 bad foods, all of that, all of the rules that you need to know. And we have experienced chefs and bakers who will answer the questions in those inboxes. And all of my books, audiobooks, and links are available on my website, noticebooks.org.